The greatest winner in women's basketball history probably went to UConn. How to rank their resumes is up to you, but Maya Moore is right up there at the top. From her freshman year of high school through her senior year of college, she won 275 games. She lost 7 total. We'll get to the W later, but first let's talk about how Moore took the court as a sophomore in Storrs and walked off the winner of every game for the next 2 seasons. This episode of Wooden Award Spotlight is presented by Principal. Life has always been bigger than basketball for Maya Moore, in a way that complemented what she did on the court. In 6th grade, she wrote that she liked math and playing basketball, in that order. You don't have to like math to appreciate that 4.0 is greater than 3. That's Moore's high school GPA versus the number of games she lost in her 4 years at Collins Hill High in the greater Atlanta area.
And Maya Moore with the rebound, leading the break, and let's see what she shall do. Nice little spin up and my goodness.
Oh, goodness.
Growing to 6 feet tall furthered her basketball ambitions, but she maintained a balance and perspective that helps explain how she stayed unflappable under pressure. That resulted in 3 state titles, plus a national championship in 2007, 4 national AAU titles, a gold medal with the U.S. Under-18 national team, and joining Candace Parker as the second player to be awarded Naismith National Player of the Year as a junior and senior. It shouldn't be surprising that she topped the 2007 recruiting rankings and found herself in the middle of the sport's biggest rivalry, UConn versus Tennessee. Coaches Gino Auriemma and Pat Summitt shared an icy relationship at the time, but no one predicted it would escalate into a cancellation of the series after 22 battles in the previous 12 years, with the chase for more becoming the breaking point. Long story short, Tennessee accused UConn of cheating, the Huskies ultimately self-reported a secondary NCAA rules violation, and the teams didn't play again until 2020. It was obvious what all the fuss was about. Moore came off the bench to start her UConn career, but that didn't last long.
Tough catch by Maya Moore, and those are the first career points for Maya Moore, the first of many.
She scored in double figures in her first 31 games as a Husky. She was an immediate stat sheet stuffer, became the first freshman, male or female, to be tabbed Big East Player of the Year, and most importantly, set the team back on a championship course. That probably sounds silly when we're talking about a program this dominant, but it's easy to forget that following 3 straight championships from 2002 to 2004, UConn missed the Final Four for 3 straight years. It's been back there every year since, with the exception of 2023. Moore became just the second freshman in women's basketball history to be selected as a first-team Associated Press All-American. She and Oklahoma great Courtney Paris are still the only players to be first-team All-Americans in each of their 4 seasons. But what made Moore so great? She was dominant in all areas, a true two-way star who could make you pay from anywhere on the court. That versatility is apparent when you look at the UConn record book. By the time she ended her college career, she finished first in program history in total points, second in rebounds, third in steals, fourth in blocks, and 6th in assists. But it was also how she played, with an athleticism and flair, a smoothness and even effortlessness at times that captivated fans nationwide. Heading into the 2008 NCAA tournament, UConn had dropped 1 game by just 2 points. They avenged that loss to Rutgers in the Elite Eight, but the Huskies just could not put the ball in the basket against Stanford and were sent home in the Final Four. Old pals Tennessee cut down the nets for their 2nd straight title. Maya Moore hadn't felt this feeling for a long, long time. So she simply decided not to feel the sting of losing for another 998 days. Moore and the Huskies rattled off 90 consecutive victories, an NCAA D1 record. To this day, no other program has managed multiple undefeated seasons. UConn has achieved it 6 times, and Maya Moore & Co. did it back-to-back. Sure, Brianna Stewart and friends would later top that group's 90-game win streak with 111 straight dubs, but even Stewart lost 1 more game in her college career than Moore. Moore had her fingerprints all over the 90-game win streak. As a sophomore, she broke the UConn single-season scoring record with 754 points. She went off for her first of 2 career 40-point games against Syracuse in January, which also made her the fastest Husky to 1,000 career points in what was her 55th game. Their next game was a matchup with number 2 North Carolina. UConn did to them what it did 20 times that season: win by at least 30 points. It was just too easy. Maya Moore and Kylie McLaren even found time to sing the national anthem before a game.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light?
A Final Four rematch with Stanford went much differently than the previous year, and UConn cruised to a 22-point win in the title game, making it the first D1 school, men's or women's, to go undefeated in a season and win every game by double figures. Next season, there was a little excitement a few days before Christmas as the Huskies trailed at halftime for the first time since the 2008 Final Four. Their opponent, again, was the number 2 ranked Stanford Cardinal. The Huskies responded with a 30-6 scoring run in front of a sellout crowd to win easily. In January, College Game Day broadcast its first show from the site of a women's game as UConn hosted number 3 Notre Dame. The Huskies won by 24, proving that other top teams weren't yet in the same tier. In fact, that regular season, UConn faced a ranked opponent 11 times, including 6 in the top 10. They beat those teams by an average margin of 24 points. Moore again tormented Syracuse with a 38-point, 20-rebound game in February. But as great as she was, running mate Tina Charles slightly edged Moore out by 1 vote to win the Wooden Award and the honor's closest finish ever. In the first 4 games of the NCAA tournament, the Huskies won by an average of 47 points. But things tightened up in the Final Four against Baylor. Q and Maya Moore take over.
Well, now Connecticut has the momentum swung in their favor because Maya Moore is cooking again. Give her 27.
UConn needed Moore's heroics even more in the championship game, where Stanford had rediscovered the formula to hang with them and led 20-12 at halftime. Moore scored 11 points in a 17-2 run to open the second half and snatch the momentum. For the first time during the win streak, UConn won by single digits, but still secured trophy number 7.
It's so hard to be consistent every single day, to come out and practice as hard as we do, and to have everybody talking all kind of just doubt.
Moore upped her scoring even more as a senior, breaking her own single-season scoring record, averaging 22.8 points per game, and becoming the only Husky to this day to reach 3,000 career points. She dropped a career-best 41 in the same game UConn surpassed UCLA's legendary 88-game win streak. But her 14 points wouldn't be enough to push the streak past 90 in a game against, who else? Stanford.
And the win streak is over. It's over. UConn's win streak ends at 90.
Anyone hoping to spell the downfall of the dynasty would have to wait a while, as UConn immediately started a fresh 24-game win streak. Moore became the 3rd woman to win the Wooden Award twice and added several honors for her work in the classroom, including the Academic All-America Team Member of the Year for the entirety of D1 sports. Her incredible college career ended in the Final Four, where she put on a show despite the loss to Notre Dame. 36 points, 8 boards, and 4 steals. Her 3,036 career points were the 4th most in D1 history at the time of her graduation. After UConn, Moore didn't have to wait long to get another title shot.
There can be so many strategies and different plans, but if you work hard and you compete, you can win at any level.
6 months after getting drafted number 1 overall, she helped lead the Minnesota Lynx to their first WNBA championship, with Simone Augustus, Rebecca Brunson, Lindsay Whalen, and eventually Sylvia Fowles. The loaded Lynx won 4 titles and made the finals every year but one from 2011 to 2017. Maya Moore's winning pace might have slowed just a tad in the pros, but the championship droughts never lasted more than a year. There's a reason Jordan Brand made her its first women's basketball signee at the start of her career. MJ knows a little bit about winning. Then in 2019, coming off a 6th straight All-WNBA first-team selection, Moore reminded us again that basketball wasn't her entire life. At just 29 years old, she left the game to prioritize her faith in the effort to overturn the wrongful conviction of Jonathan Irons.
We need to be people before players right now and just say something because we're hurting.
Always an advocate for social justice, Moore sacrificed the remainder of her athletic prime in the service of freeing an innocent man, who would later become her husband.
As athletes, we want things to be fair. In our justice system, let's be fair. Let's make it equal for every person to have the truth be shown and treat it with respect and dignity.
It was another win in a life full of them. We didn't even mention the Olympic golds or EuroLeague crowns. Her number 23 hangs in the rafters in Minnesota and undoubtedly will one day hang in Gamble Pavilion. There are so few players who could have walked away from the game before turning 30 and still be a surefire Hall of Famer, arguably the GOAT. Maya Moore is one of them. What's remarkable about someone who is an all-time champion while in the spotlight is that her legacy is incomplete without what she has done since stepping out of it. This episode of Wooden Award Spotlight is presented by Principal, proud sponsor of the 2025 John R. Wooden Player of the Year.